Welcome to Resource PNG. The resource sector in Papua New Guinea is blessed with an abundance of local experts who have had the opportunity to serve the industry in various capacities over the years. Among them, Isikeli Taureka. Isikeli, or Kelly as he is more commonly known, is no doubt a trendsetter within the powerful mining, petroleum and energy sector. From humble beginnings, Kelly worked his way to the top of the corporate world in a field that is one of the most demanding. Resource PNG had the honor of chatting with Kelly to get an insight into what has been an extraordinary career so far. This is the story of Kelly Taureka. The road to the top of the corporate world has not been easy. For anyone who knows Isikeli Taureka, they will tell you he is determined.
Was all my helmets, farewell present during my Chevron days.
Straight out of university, Kelly jumped into his first formal employment, being a salesman with the then National Australia Bank, selling finances.
Yes, when I graduated from the University of Papua New Guinea, I sort of 6 months just floated around, just didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then I signed up for the Graduate Accelerated Program with the National Australia Bank, and that was the early start of my career in banking. Went through a program that took me to middle and senior management, and that period was for about 15 years. And so my basic career really started in the banking sector, with assignments not only in Papua New Guinea but also in Australia, and with short assignments in Hong Kong and in London. Following that, I took about a year, what I call a sabbatical. I had enough of banking and wanted to do something different. So after 15 years, I decided to take time off, go fishing and try and improve my golf handicap. But that was short-lived when Sarabi Namalu, at the time was Prime Minister, called me in to come and be the acting managing director for Post and Telecom at the time. It was going through a very chaotic times because it drifted away from its core business of telecom. The unions had the upper hand. I thought I'd be there for about 3 months just to stabilize it and go back to, again, improving my golf handicap. That didn't occur at all. I stayed there for 3 years, and in the process started the corporatization process to separate telecom from Post. Got it back on track, and during that time also I got terminated by the change in government after Sarabi. On a matter of principle, really, I didn't really want to agree with the government's decision at the time to sell a mobile spectrum space for a value which I thought didn't really reflect the true value of that resource. Anyway, I got reinstated, and I think my logic and the principles were vindicated, and I saw my term out and left Post and Telecom, or Post and Telecom, after my period of 3 years.
Kelly's introduction to the energy sector came in the mid-1990s when he was approached by Chevron Texaco to work for the global giant overseeing operations in PNG. Little did Kelly know that this would be the start of a dream career, taking him to some of the most diverse economies in the Asia-Pacific region and cementing his status as a leader in the energy sector.
A short break, and then Chevron picked me up. They wanted a deputy country manager, and that really was the beginning of my relationship with the resource industry. Banking, it was okay. I mean, made loans, met a lot of customers' expectations in terms of providing the ability to finance their business. But resource sector, it's totally different. It's exciting. The numbers are bigger. The risks are higher. The rewards are good. Particularly in Papua New Guinea, well, like other countries in the world, oil and gas are, very strategic resources. So there's a lot of politics associated with that as well. So with Chevron, I started off as Deputy Country Manager in Papua New Guinea. Then went across to our headquarters in California, San Ramon, running our global upstream planning. And this was really putting together, consolidating all the budgets and strategic plans for all our business units around the world, and wrapping those up and forwarding those up into our overall corporate business plan and strategies. 2 years in San Ramon, and they said, come back to Papua New Guinea as a country manager, which I was happy to come back. And when I came back, I was responsible for the Kutubu operations and also our Western Australia oil operations. So off Barrow Island, which is now the site for the Gorgon LNG project. So ran that for 2 years, and then they said it's time for you to leave Papua New Guinea and go up to Thailand and run our operations up there. We had an offshore oil and gas production in the Gulf of Thailand. I was made responsible for that operation as managing director, and then also had oversight over our operations in Cambodia with exploration projects in Cambodia and also exploration in Bangladesh. During my time in Chevron Thailand, Chevron bought Unocal out. That particular transaction was about $18.5 billion. Unical's biggest asset was in Thailand. We merged the operations, and I was given a temporary position running exploration covering Myanmar, Cambodia, Vietnam, and also helping complete the merger process between Unocal and Thailand. Completed that, and then they sent me up to China to become managing director for our Chinese operations there, which is mainly offshore operations and some coal bed methane exploration projects in the Ordos Basin. The interesting thing about that was the Chinese company that we beat which we outbid for the purchase of Unocal, was also a partner in China. So I had to go back and develop, renew the relationship with them, which at the end of the day, in my term in China, we managed to mend our bridges, and they invited us into some deep water exploration projects in the South China Sea. So that was quite an exciting time. I was up in China during the 2008 Olympic Games and also during the 60th anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party. Completed the assignment in China, and then they sent me down to run our geothermal operations in Indonesia, and also our non-operated joint ventures with Shell in Malampai, a big gas project there, and plus our non-operated joint venture business with ConocoPhillips, supplying pipeline gas to Malaysia and to Singapore. So oil and gas offshore as a non-operating partner, running our geothermal business in Indonesia, in West Java, taking steam out of the ground and turning that into electricity and putting that into the grid. And so Chevron at the time was the biggest geothermal operator in the world. Operations not only in West Java but also in Philippines. So I was running between both countries, running that. And the other side of my business was also producing steam for secondary heavy oil recovery in our Sumatra oil fields. So using steam injection to get pretty high gravity oil out of the ground in terms of tertiary recovery. So,
having reached the top of the corporate energy business, Kelly had always kept abreast with developments within the petroleum and energy sector in PNG. Little did he know that he would soon be returning home to be part of this vibrant industry through a world-class exploration company, Interoil Corporation. Coming up, Isikeli Taureka's decision to return to PNG. That's after the break on Resource PNG. welcome back to Resource PNG. In July 2013, Isikeli Taureka accepted an offer to become Executive Vice President for Interoil Corporation, responsible for identifying new business for the company. This was part of a new direction that Interoil took, a decision based on focusing on their core business, oil and gas exploration. And so far, Kelly has risen to the challenge and is excited about the prospect of being part of a growing sector in PNG. What drew Kelly to return to PNG? Let's find out.
In 2012, Chevron was looking at potential to invest in elk antelope, and I, as part of the M&A team that looked at that opportunity, we couldn't make the numbers work for us or the geology work for us, so we passed on that opportunity. And then the Interoil management at the time approached me and said, would I like to come back to Papua New Guinea? And so I said, let me go and think about it. You know, I've been an international vagabond for 18 years, really had a wonderful experience with Chevron. They taught me a lot of things. At the end of the day, I felt I had to come back home and contribute because I've been around. It's my time to come back and at least be associated with the elk antelope project, which I believe is another nation builder like the PNG LNG project. So very happy to be back again and being part of this particular project.
Was it a hard decision for you to leave Chevron for Interoil?
Very, very difficult position, because when you're working with a big company, you have all those resources, you have a lot of technical support, the numbers are bigger, you know, it's a super major, and you enjoy being part of that. But at the end of the day, I think it was really time to come back home, because I can see a lot of potential with the elk antelope project. It's not only a game changer for Papua New Guinea, but also a real game changer for the Gulf province, where it's been really underdeveloped for quite a long time. So I think this is an opportunity where we can really bring the Gulf province up as a very strong province from a socio-economic perspective.
The energy sector in PNG has come a long way, especially within the last decade. This provides abundant opportunities for companies, and Interoil is looking to benefit greatly from this current upturn. This is evident in its current ways in doing business. But amongst his hectic schedule, Kelly also has a favorite pastime: playing golf. To say he casually enjoys the sport is an understatement. Kelly loves his golf. He's got a collection that any golf enthusiast will be envious of. And he's the first to admit, many business decisions have been made on the golf course. So what lays ahead for the ambitious Isikeli Taureka? What can we expect from this global trendsetter?
The Gulf province has its special issues, and we try to work with them. Once we understand some of the political outcomes there that are still, you know, bubbling away, then we'll move in and work more closely with them. So they need to sort themselves out. I think that's quite important. They do understand that they need to get their political structure. They need to be better at governing their province, because it's, I think in terms of all your socio-economic indicators, malaria, health and all the other types of issues out there, the Gulf province seems to figure quite highly on that. They need a lot of help, but we can be a partner with them to bring not only development, but also, you know, to help them build infrastructure. Schools, roads and hospitals, but we certainly don't want to be the government by default. I think that they need to be with us lockstep all the way. Let me put it this way, we're a company that's in exploration phase without any production, so we have to be careful on how we engage in these programs. My view is that we need to work with NGOs who understand how to do things. We're an oil company, we're good exploring, but we don't have any, what I would say, strong skill sets in working in the socio-economic environment around healthcare and education. So we're working with people like YWAM, also talking to ADI, Australian Doctors International, which is a volunteer service. We contribute money to PIMA, the program for malaria that's supported by the private sector, and also support other charities like Anglicare. These people really have the infrastructure to roll out programs, and I think it's not about just giving the money, but it's also about building institutional capacity and working with the strengths in the local community. It's a partnership, and throwing money at it is not the answer, but trying to help people come up and develop their own capability, most important. So that's where we work in that space. The dollars we don't, we spend a significant, but I feel that once we get production up and running, then we'll be able to leverage, at least the joint venture partners, be able to leverage some of the tax credit monies and work with the provincial government and national government to build capacity.
As you know, Interoil is involved in the development of the Elk Antelope gas project. This project has been touted as the next big development of gas in PNG. In the coming weeks, Isikeli Taureka will be providing an insight into this project. When we return, a look at stories making headlines in the resource sector. Welcome back. It's the time again. Let's take a look at what's been making headlines in PNG's resource sector. It is important for staff from the Department of Petroleum and Energy to broaden their knowledge on the oil and gas sector. In a series of workshops organized by Interoil Corporation, new DPE staff were given an opportunity to learn, understand and appreciate both government and business needs in developing oil and gas in PNG. The workshops also focused on the important role of DPE as custodians of the nation's natural resources. According to Interoil Senior Vice President, Drilling and Development, David Kirk, the company's support for the workshops recognized the department's important regulatory role in the energy sector. He said Interoil's support is part of efforts to enhance the department's knowledge base and to build greater common understanding of the regulatory and corporate needs in developing PNG's oil and gas resources. Now moving on to Oktedi, Chairman of Oktedi Mining Limited, Sir Moy Avey, says Papua New Guinea must continue investing in education if it wants a better future. He made this call when speaking at the opening of brand new classrooms and teachers' units at Tabobil Elementary School, jointly funded by OTML and the national government. Sir Moy reminded those present of the importance of investing in PNG's greatest asset, human resource. He commended the previous board of OTML, as well as former CEO and Managing Director Nigel Parker, for having the foresight in investing in the education of children within Tabobil. As a sign of gratitude to the former OTML CEO and MD, the teachers' units were named Parker Units. The classrooms were funded by the national government at a cost of 1.8 million kina, these funds deducted from OTML dividend payments, whilst the teachers' units were funded by OTML at a cost of 2.7 million kina. Over to the autonomous region of Bougainville, there have been mixed reactions to the recently passed Bougainville Mining Act 2015. The legislation, which was passed just before the issuing of writs for the autonomous Bougainville government general elections, is expected to feature predominantly in the elections, with many candidates using the legislation as a platform in their bid to get elected to the autonomous region's House of Representatives. The international community is also watching closely how this legislation will affect plans to possibly allow for mining to recommence on Bougainville. Resource PNG will follow closely developments in this regard. After a rapid build-up in activity from 2003 to 2012, there has been a dramatic plunge in mineral exploration in PNG. According to PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum, companies such as Octedi, Barrick Gold, Valley, Newmont and Newcrest have pulled out of joint venture farm-in deals. Junior mining companies are also feeling the pinch of lower commodity prices even more as they face greater difficulty in raising capital for high-risk exploration. However, Chamber Executive Director Greg Anderson says it is worth remembering that the exploration climate is in far better shape than it was prior to 2002 because of supportive government policies and a stable policy environment. And that ends Resource News for this week and also brings us to the end of this episode of Resource PNG. If you want to contribute to this program, get in touch with us via email on resourcepng@mtv.com.pg. To view this edition again, log on to www.mtv.com.pg, where you will find a link to the Resource PNG page. You can also follow us on Facebook. Until the next time, this has been Resource PNG. I'm Mary Batulo. Pleasant viewing.